All right, guys, welcome back to H2H, the show in which Tasos and I battle it out each and every week in the NFL to give you guys some NFL picks here. And the best man comes out on top. Whoever wins the most units. Tasos, by far and away, the best man last week. 4-0 sweep. I got another L. Now I'm down 3-7 here in terms of record. But I don't know if I could be upset about a guy going 4-0 against me, right?
I mean, you say best man this week, but let's be honest. I've been best man pretty much all season.
That's
Let's be
fair.
real.
I haven't been able to string 2 wins together whatsoever. 3-7. It's getting
No.
late in the season, but there's still enough games here, or still enough weeks, I should say, just like this one, that I can kind of come back and capitalize. But congrats on the 4-0 week. That is a big spot. You doubled down on a pick too. Easy win.
Yep.
There's a intimidation factor going into a 4-0 week here from my end. But no way you go 8-0, right?
I mean, listen, I did say last week, to be fair, if you rewatch the episode, I did say I love the board. Like, I was like, I was,
You
it was
did,
scary
yeah.
how much I loved the board, and you were like, uh-oh. And
Yep.
it paid off. I mean, 4-0.
Yeah.
I hit something, like, even like on play action takes last week, I had Browns money line on play action takes. Like, I was like all over some of these games that was like wild. So I just had a great week. I told you before, I have a couple of these weeks during the season. It happens like 2 or 3 times a year where I just see everything so clearly and everything
You're the
hits.
Zach Galifianakis gif. You're like seeing everything,
Yes,
and you're like,
exactly.
all right, it all makes sense to me.
Numbers,
But
everything's
guys,
flying across the screen. I just figured it out.
and you hammer it. So hey, good for you. I got to be better here. Hopefully we can do that. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into, not waste any more time. If you guys don't know how this show works, we're gonna have 4 rounds of our plays, and we give picks based on a wheel. Which Tasos, you and this wheel have a great little duo going on here. It gives you what you like to see, and then all of a sudden you give a winning pick. It's just kind of how it is right now. But wheel is on the screen. We're going to spin it to see who goes first. It's then a snake draft, and then we're going to spin it again to see what type of bets are we going with. Player prop, underdog spread, total, that type of thing. It'll all make sense in just a second. But Tasos, let's see who's kicking us off this week as we spin it.
The wheel gods have been good and just to me this year. Let's see if that continues. And it's going to continue.
Oh boy. It's going to land right on you, like middle of your name.
Middle. Dead accurate. Bam.
It was always Tasos. All right, Tasos. Now we're going to jump in and spin another wheel here. And again, guys, this is to dictate what round number 1, what the lane of betting is going to be here. And Tasos, I actually do like the board a decent amount this week, which is good. So I don't really have like a preference in terms of what this lands on. Do you have anything?
The world's my oyster. I say that a couple times this year. I like a lot this week. I don't love the board as much as last week, but I do love the board for the most part. I have a couple picks that I like, so I can pretty much go any way, and I'll be happy with it. Also, this is like the first time we've ever recorded the show on a morning. If you can't tell, usually we're drinking beers when we record this, and I got a coffee in my hand. So
I have a green like health drink. So what's going on here?
Yeah, it's very different vibe. Very different vibe.
Very much. But all right, here we go. Let's spin it. Again, I don't mind anything that comes up here. I don't love many underdog spreads, though, and I'll say that.
That's fair. For me, I guess total is the only thing. Like, I don't have a ton of them, and it's going to hit on total.
All right, starting it off with a player prop here.
Player prop.
Okay, we do have a few games and lines available here. Tasos, you are starting us off. Go ahead and jump into it. Player props probably the one, even whether we record this in the morning or at night, right? Like we do usually have less of the board available. We have the Thursday night football game and a few other games, but props don't come out till obviously later on in the week.
Yeah, and I mean, like we do, like I've been looking, and like we got like Bears Lions. There's a few have come out, and like they already have some out for Monday for Eagles Chiefs. I'm going to go here a little on the simple side. Give me Jared Goff over 266.5 passing yards against the Bears. I have that at -114. Maybe you have it a different. That's what I see as like the best odds available right now on my screen.
Let's see, Goff. I can't. I trust your odds. We'll make sure that we have the best odds listed on the screen.
Yeah. But I got Goff over 266.5 passing yards. Look, I mean, he had over 300 last week. They're going up against the Bears team that, we talked about them. Like, defensively, they're getting better. Like, the trade for Montez Sweat, I think, definitely has helped them a little bit. But this is still not a good defensive team. It's not a good team in general. I know their running attack is kind of crazy right now, and that's kind of the scary side. People are probably going to lean into that. But I just like Jared Goff here. He has been hitting this number pretty consistently this year. So give me the over 266.5 points. I just think this Bears secondary is not very good. And their front four is kind of, I don't want to say their strength, but it's where they have some more playmakers is up front. And so I feel like I don't want to necessarily say they're going to slow the Lions rushing attack down,
Mhm.
but I feel like it's going to be open. Like I think like play action, like they're going to be able to run play action all day long. And I don't think the Bears will be able to stop it. So
You
I
think
see Jared Goff having a pretty big day.
you think there's any concern in terms of the Lions going up early and then still trying to run to chew the clock and whatnot? Because that would be the Bears passing defense. Nothing that I could say to take that down, but there is a potential of like the we're up, we're gonna run standard football
That's
format, I
my that
guess.
would be my only worry. The only thing that I think helps me here is the fact that the Bears, we don't know if Justin Fields will be back, but also the Lions defense right now, people aren't talking about it. A little interesting. Like they give up 38 points to the Chargers.
Yeah,
They've
that's a good
had they've
point.
had they've had some games this year like they gave up over 30 to the Ravens. Like they're defensively, they've given up some points to teams. I think Chicago, if Fields plays, I feel even more confident about this because I think he'll be able to keep it a little closer.
Yep.
But even with Tyson Bagent, I think he's getting a little more comfortable in the offense. I think they'll be able to score just enough points on this Lions defense to at least keep it close enough where Goff will keep throwing the ball.
Okay. That's fair enough, and I do think that they're starting to play a little bit. It's tough to say just based on how they've played, but like they are starting to play a
Yeah.
little bit better. But that wasn't hard from where they started,
I was
so I
gonna
don't
say, yeah,
hate that. We'll
they
find
the bar was
we'll make
pretty
sure
low.
we get the best odds there as well. But in terms of my pick here, I'm looking at a Thursday night prop here, Tasos, and I'm looking at a wide receiver that has a massive name, but is kind of forgotten about. He was injured. He came back, signed with the Ravens. I'm looking at Odell Beckham Jr. here, over 26 and a half receiving yards, minus 109 odds right now over on Caesars. Surprisingly, and it's not surprising because this is such a low line, 26 and a half again, right? Like that's low. But he's hit this in all but 2 games this season. So he's hit it 6 of 8 games. This is a Cincinnati team that their pass rush is good. I wouldn't say their secondary or anything like that is spectacular. And we've just seen how well Lamar Jackson has been playing, and not that he's always doing it with the arm, but we're seeing guys catch deep balls just because Lamar Jackson's extending a play and whatnot. And this is a low line. Like Odell should see 4 to 5 targets like he has been seeing. And if he could do this on one catch, you know what I mean? So I do like his over 26 and a half receiving yards. Do I think that the Ravens are going to target him and he's going to be the stud of the game? No, I could see him having 2 catches for 43 yards. You know what I mean? But I think that that's such a low line. And again, he's been crushing this line all but 2 games. And one of those games was a really, really bad game for them too. So give me the over in this one.
I can't poke any logic. Honestly, that was one of the props I was looking at. Shout out Outlier. I actually have it up right now. I'm looking at it. I mean, it's the Bengals pass defense, 25th ranked in the league. Like I said, 80% hit rate this year. I can't really knock it down. Like it's a pretty good spot. I mean, the only risk I think you genuinely have is if Odell gets hurt, which I think at this
Yeah.
point is a real legitimate risk. And I guess like if Lamar has one of his like games like he did last week versus Cleveland where he just kind of starts stinking it up, but
Right. Or he
I
just
think
takes it into his own hands and runs around. Like we could see
yeah.
Odell have one target for 17 yards, and it's like, oh shit, he's on pace. And then it's like he doesn't even get looked at. But I think he should get, four-ish targets. That's what he's been seeing all year.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good spot, honestly. I can't poke too many holes in the logic of this bet, honestly.
Love to hear it. All right, we're 2 picks in. Let's go ahead and jump into the wheel again to see what round number 2 is looking like. Tassos, we're keeping like a pretty good pace here, huh? Flying through
We are,
this.
we are.
All right, let's go ahead and spin it. So there's the player prop. I don't know if I want another player prop, if I'm being completely honest. That might be the one that I don't want.
I got one more in the
Oh
chamber.
no,
I got
it's
one more
gonna.
prop in the chamber.
Okay, phew.
Oh,
I thought it was landing right there.
almost. I had one more in the chamber, but just one more. That's it.
And I don't have. We're acting like this thing's over. We have another couple wheel spins, so it
I
could
know.
definitely happen. But we do have a total here for round number 2. Tasos, I am up now. I lose focus.
Yep, you are.
In terms of draft order. Or
You almost
order.
threw it over to me, but it's okay.
Yeah,
You saved yourself.
But this is a board in which totals look a little iffy to me. So I do think that I'm going to be looking at a team total here. I want to make sure I have the right line. I could be taking this at a very bad spot. I'll admit that. But in terms of value, I think I think I like this. I'm going to look at the over 26.5 team total for the Dallas Cowboys against the Carolina Panthers. I think this is the Cowboys team that is
Mm.
starting, not starting to, because obviously this is a good team and they're proving people that their defense is great and all that. But I think the offense is starting to come together. Like CD Lamb is obviously a stud. His recent run has been incredible. Now, their red zone defense, or red zone offense, excuse me, still seems to be somewhat of a struggle, but they're starting to target your boy Ferguson down there. Dak, I hate to say that I'm starting to trust him. Like, that's wild to say, but it just seems like this is a team in which they're starting to kind of cook. And asking for 27 against Carolina, I don't think it's all that much. It's still a high number, right? Like that's a decent amount of points for any NFL team to consistently score. But we've seen 2 of the last 3 weeks here, this Dallas team put up 40 plus. And when they play a bad team, I think that they like to kind of go all in. They scored 40 against the Giants in week number 1. Week number 2, they scored 30 against the Jets, 38 against the Patriots. The Rams, obviously, without their, or I guess that was your game of the year, right? They kind of capitalized on that. And then 49 against the Giants. When they play good teams, they don't score as many points. But Panthers, confirmed bad team. So I like the spot for Dallas to go and score at least 27 points in this spot. Minus 115 odds. Nope, I'm not going to do it. I was thinking about using a little double down action, but I think if it was a little bit lower or better odds, I think I would do it, but I'm not doing it.
All right, I give you. I can't again. 2 picks, 2 picks in a row. I can't really do it.
Tasos isn't feisty in the morning. He's not feisty in the morning.
No,
Usually I say a pick and immediately it's like, well, you're going to lose this one. And you're usually right. But now you're in the morning and, it's coffee, not beer. And all of a sudden we're just like, look at this. Look at us 2 happy campers out here giving sports picks.
We're all in harmony right now. We're feeling good.
Everyone watching is like, can you do this in the morning more often?
Well, here's the thing, too. Like, it's hard for me to poke logic into a pick that I like. And, like, the thing with Dallas, and I've been spot on with them all year, to be fair. It's not, it doesn't take a scientist to figure out the Cowboys. They're the same thing every year. They do this all the time. This is where the Cowboys make their money. This is where Dak Prescott gets paid, is in these games when they play Carolina and they dominate and they whoop them and they put a bunch of points on, so that when they play the Eagles or the Niners or the Chiefs or these elite teams and they come up short, it saves them. Well, look, he did this against this team, and it's like, well, it's Carolina. But it helps the overall numbers at the end of the season. Well, Dak threw 35 touchdowns this year. It's like, well, he threw 5 against Carolina. So it's like he got 1/7 of his production from one game. But
I just did the math, too. They're averaging 37 points in wins. So you know what I mean? Like what they topple on when they do, and like Jerry Jones upstairs and whatnot too is like step on the throat. Like he's not like pull off, and they don't have the, now Dowell I guess looks okay, but they don't really have the running back to pound the rock when they get up either.
No, they don't.
Like they don't have that sort of, all right, let's get this game over with. So I like the spot.
Yeah, and they like Pollard hasn't really been playing great this year. So like they actually, like I said, this Dallas, and this is what they do. The Miami Dolphins are also very similar, where it's like when they play bad team, like they drop 70 on the Broncos, they drop 42 on the Panthers, and but then when you watch them play the Bills and the Eagles and the Chiefs, they struggle to score 20 points, and it's like, well, that the Cowboys are the same thing. Like when they play these other teams, they just lay it on. Dallas, they lost Leighton Vander Esch now for the season. Like the injuries are piling up on defense. Dallas, to me, feels like they're going right back to where they usually are, which is probably like an NFC divisional round bounce from the playoffs. But they'll dominate here, and that's, like I said, this is where this team makes their money, is on games like this. So I like the spot for you. For me, God, this is risky, and the last time I took a lot of risks, which was 2 weeks ago, it backfired. I think it went like 1-3. But I like the spot here. Give me the over 46. In Bengals Ravens. For me, the Bengals defense, they have a really good pass rush, which could disrupt Lamar, but their secondary is cheddar cheese right now. And I think that Lamar could take advantage of that. He's not really a great downfield thrower, but they're going to be so focused on getting to him and getting pressure on him that he'll get a couple times in the game where he'll be able to roll out, and you're going to have like Odell down there, which is why I like that pick you gave. Or they'll have like Zay Flowers down there or something along, or even, God forbid, if he catches it, Nelson Aguilar. He's going to have guys running down the field. This is what the Ravens do. This is what Lamar, this is how he boosts his numbers. And I think coming off a low game last week, I think the Ravens will have a little bit of bounce back. And on the flip side, I think the Bengals, you can say the same. I think the Ravens defense got a little exposed last week. Like, they're still a good defense, no doubt. But I think, like, they were the number one ranked defense coming into that Browns game. Like, the Browns offense was horrendous, and Deshaun Watson went like 14 for 14 in the second half. Like, he tore them apart. And I think Joe Burrow, like the Bengals, it comes out of a necessity, right? They need this win very badly. The offense has been playing well. The problem, like in that Texans loss, Burrow had some mistakes, but their defense was not great. So I like the spot here over 46. The last time they played, this number, their games are usually high. They hit this over the last time they played last year, 34-27. This game usually teeters around this line, right? Like, it's like 24-17, 27-16. So, like, it's always around that 43, 44. I think they have just enough to get over that 46. So I like the over here, 46. There's a lot of trap overs this week. Like, I'll be honest, I'm not gonna say actually, because we could get another total, but there's a lot of games that, like, they look really good. Like, I was like, oh yeah, that's a clear over. And then the more I'm thinking about it, like, nah, it kind of feels like a trap. This one feels like a pretty sure bet in my opinion. So give me the over 46.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it and alluded to it too. Like, this is a game where there could be some massive explosive plays. Like, and that is over recipe. Where because football's, if you didn't know, you score a touchdown at 6 points, kick an extra point at 7. A number can change damn quick in football if they go and a 60-yard touchdown or something like that. Something could totally be pacing under, and one play puts you that much closer. So don't hate that spot at all. The one thing I'll say, and I think I've said it all year, is these Thursday night games, these primetime games, like they've been weird. They've been weird in terms of total. Like, we're 10 weeks in, and it's still kind of like definitely more unders of it than overs, and we've seen some low like totals hit under. So, but this is one of the best matchups we've seen for Thursday Night Football. So that's to be said as well.
Well, and that's one more thing. I know some people are going to say this doesn't matter, it doesn't count. I will say, I think the NFL needs this game to be a home run because Thursday night has been so bad this year in the match. Like, this is the best Thursday night game of the year, and it probably is the only good one we have left. Like, if you look at the rest of the Thursday night slate, it's terrible.
True. So if Thursday Night Football is supposed to be a thing,
they need this game to be a fire. Like, if this game stinks, like, because the thing is, eventually people will just get sick and tired and the views will go down. But all it takes is one or two good ones a year, and people will keep watching. You know what I mean? And it's like, I know the NFL has no power over if necessarily if the game's going to be a home run game, but, like, maybe the refs get a little looser with the calls, maybe a couple more deep downfield pass interference calls. I just think that this game, like, they need this to be a home run. And if this game ends up being like a 17-10 slugfest, it's not good for ratings. So I could see the NFL maybe helping the over a little bit here by, either being a little more lenient with some calls or being a little over the top with some calls. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe I'm way off on that opinion, but I could see that being the case personally.
Yeah, I could like that's kind of got the ring to it of like, okay, well, this is more important for the NFL than it might be for these two teams. Are obviously competing too in the AFC, but I could see that. So don't hate that. I will say I this next wheel spin is crucial because I just found a pick that I like, and I would go Alti Ev. So this could be huge. We don't know. But let's go ahead, jump into round number 3, and you will be kicking us off here, right?
You did. I will be fair. You did hit Altiev again last week with your Vikings pick. So
Altiev's heating up.
2 weeks in a row.
Altiev's heating up. And that was no, that wasn't. I didn't double down, but that was a plus money Altiev hit. Yeah, I should have. But
I mean, it wouldn't have mattered anyways. I dominated, but still.
Fair enough. What's funny is that the play that I found was a total, and what did we just go through? Like, I could have used that total. I think that it would have been my second pick anyway, so that is fine. But let's see what we got here.
No, that Cowboys pick, I don't think you can really be mad at.
Look at that. Is Altiev coming out to play?
Oh, no. I don't like that. The wheel's going your way right now. I don't like that.
Yep. Yeah, but you're probably not going to like this pick because it is, I would say, a fairly risky spot. And I'll admit that, but what I do like is the fact that and everyone says like, oh, this defense is starting to play better and blah blah blah. They are, and it's another good defense on the other side of things. But I'm upping this point just by 1, and it makes it a
hold on. I want to save you from karma because I don't want it to happen to you again.
You're leading
I'm
up.
I'm up.
Damn it.
Yep.
I just
I'm
said it
gonna
out
say
loud too.
you know what? A part of me was like, let him go. It's gonna help me
No,
win.
that ruined my
But you know what? I'm a fair man. I don't want to see karma come back at you, so I am actually up first.
Here I was thinking the morning would make me like sharp. Nope. It always happens. Round number 3, I lose track.
You know what? And I was looking through the totals, like I was looking through my options, and I was listening, and I was like, wait a second, he's about to give a pick. Like he's not. I was like, oh, you're really giving a
You're
deep
learning. You're
preview of your
learning. You got to keep the leash on me.
pick. God, here's the thing. I actually wish you did go first because, like, I told you the one area of the board where I wasn't the most confident were totals, and here we are. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this one. We're going to Sunday Night Football. We're going the over 43.5 Vikings Broncos. Is that the pick?
No way.
Oh,
Oh,
is that
what
the pick?
that is unreal how that turned out. Yes.
That was your pick?
44 and a half was going to be mine.
Oh, you get
Wow,
a
that's
43 and
awesome.
a half on FanDuel. You get a 43 and a half on FanDuel.
I was alti Evan it.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Wow, this is
Oh,
that's why we do the snake draft, ladies and gentlemen. It
wow.
worked. Was that last
That's
week that
impressive.
was it last week that I took the lines from you, right? I
Last
believe so.
week,
You
yeah,
threw the
yeah,
water
yeah.
bottle,
That
and
was
now this week you
when I was
stole my. Oh man. Okay. All right.
I
Well,
was
guess
chucking
what?
water bottles.
Well, guess what? Good luck, sir, because I've had this one. But go ahead.
Listen, these are the Vikings defense is better than they get credit for sure. Is my camera blurry right now?
I think you're all right.
Okay, it looked a little blurry to me. Um, the Vikings defense, like they are solid, but like I don't think they're like a world beating defense. Like I don't think they're like this crazy good thing. And I think Denver right now, look, they're finally figuring it out. Like Russell Wilson, I'm not gonna say he looks like Seattle Russell Wilson, but like we kept for so many weeks, we kept waiting for this moment to happen, and then when we finally gave up on it, the Broncos finally started waking up, and Russell Wilson finally started cooking a little bit. So the Broncos offense is firing off now, and they're scoring points. You know, and defensively, the Broncos are not anything special, I don't think. And the Vikings the same. Like they're both these teams are like their defenses are okay. You know, like there are pieces there that you like. But both these teams have solid offensive lines. Both these teams have good receivers. Both these teams have, I mean, I should say, average to decent running backs. Like, you know, the Broncos have Javonte Williams. The Vikings have, you know, Alexander Madison. So, like, it's not great. But the quarterbacks, I mean, Josh Dobbs right now, how are you going to go against this guy? He's the most electric quarterback in the NFL right now. Greatest story. And then, like I said, Russell Wilson is just, he's finally, you know, putting it all together. So I like the spot, especially when you're going up against two, like, average to above average defenses. But they're, like I said, I wouldn't call either the Vikings or the Broncos elite. And Sunday Night Football, again, I know it's 2 primetime overs I've taken so far, but I like it. I like the spot here. So the over 43.5. I won't go Alti-Ev, although honestly, I think, you know, if you go 1 point over, I think it's still going to hit, to be fair. So I
Right.
get where you were going with that.
What can I say, right? I think that's obviously a good spot. So I have nothing really negative to say about it. What I will say is you put me in a tough spot because now I have one other total that I don't think I'll be honest, I don't know how much I love it. So I'm gonna be looking at another team total here, which is again, I didn't love the totals overall, but I found a couple team totals that I like, and this is the second one, and I think it's gonna be a game or a pick that you seem to like. I'm gonna look at the Seattle Seahawks, your bread and butter here, right? And I'm looking at their team total of over 21 and a half, minus 140, minus 142 odds. So yes, kind of a lot of juice to be paid here, but I'm doubling down. 22 or more points here, over 21 and a half against a defense that I don't think is at all, worth backing or anything like that. And I think that this Seattle team, we've seen them obviously score over, I guess, again, over 21 and a half, plenty this season. And they have some revenge here. Like they're arguably, it wasn't their worst because that Baltimore game was their worst game of the year. But earlier in the year, game number 1, week number 1 was one of the games in which they looked disgusting and they lost 30-13. I think that they come out here and go and I guess I don't want to say torch the Rams, but 24-ish points and cover this with ease. So I'm doubling down again. Those odds I don't like. Minus 142, that's tough, but I do think doubling down can kind of negate that if it hits.
I have a confession to make. Now, Seattle's been great for me, and I love them, and they've been awesome. I'm kind of falling off the bandwagon a little bit. Like
they don't need to
I've
win this
now
game.
I mean, I've been betting them like on my personal side. I've been betting them like every week, and like they have been losing.
Yeah.
They've failed to cover the spread in 4 of their last 5 games,
Mhm.
and they've failed to score. They've failed to score this over that you have 3 of their last 5.
Even in their, yeah, that's true. Yes, I would say this. Even at the top line against the spread numbers, I think the one that they didn't was a push too. So they're literally 0-4-1 against spread in their last 5.
Well, it depends. If we got it. Like, if I think I had it at -9 the week that I bet them versus Arizona. But again, if you got it at -10, which I think a lot of people
closed.
did
I think it closed at 10. So
at
closing
10.
odds.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, in it, like a pretty good matchup. The Rams, all their strength is in their pass rush. I mean, the Seahawks don't have a great offensive line, but I don't know about this, to be honest. This is the first pick of yours, and it's crazy that it's the Seahawks pick, but I'm not a fan of this one. I think Seattle right now they should be a lot better than they are, but I think there's some issues there. I don't know if it's a Pete Carroll thing. I don't know if it's a Geno Smith thing, but offensively, they have been real wishy-washy. I mean, they should have lost that Washington game last week. I mean, granted they scored
Yeah.
29 points, which is what you're focused on right now. It's not about if they win or lose, it's if they
Right.
score over 21 and a half. But I don't know. Like I said, 3 of their last 5 they haven't even covered this spot. And like we're talking like teams like Arizona, they only scored 20 against, and then like Arizona, they're not really a defensive stalwart. 3 against Baltimore, 13 against Cincinnati. I don't know. I don't hate this spot necessarily, but I actually think the Rams are going to cover this game. I think the Rams might actually win this game. To be fair,
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me.
I
That wouldn't
wouldn't give
shock
that
me.
as I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't give that as a pick personally, but like I could see the Rams maybe disrupt them a little bit. So it's risky, especially the fact that you pulled Alti Ev on it is crazy a little bit. But Seattle. I don't know. I do like their personnel. I like the players they have, but I just think that I've been watching a lot of Seahawks football this year because, like I said, I've been betting on them a lot, and the more and more of them watching, the less and less I'm getting impressed. So I would
Yeah.
be a little concerned here.
I would say this. I don't think I need to be impressed by 22 points. You know what I mean? Like they could lose 34 to 24, and it's like, yeah, they got beat. 24 points, not all that much. 3 touchdowns and a field goal, and it's like, yeah, okay. I don't care if they lose. They could lose by a million.
But the but the thing is though, can they get to 24 points? And I think that's the caveat there is like they haven't really like they've a lot of I'm actually going through their whole schedule. Like this isn't like recently, yes, it's been worse, but like they haven't, let's see, that's one. Oh, they covered there. 1, 2,
They've hit the
3,
line
4, 5.
plenty
So
on
like
the
I think
season.
it's like 5 or 6 times this year. So like in 60% of their games, they haven't hit this over, which is a little concerning. I would think.
Yeah, I guess, but some of these games too where they haven't hit it, like Baltimore, good defense. Cleveland, they put up 24 against good defense. Like there's arguments to be made. I'm just saying, I hear what you're saying. I just don't think 24
Yeah.
points, 22 points is a lot. Like that's where my
No, it's
argument
not a
lives with
lot.
guys.
It's not a lot. But this Seahawks team, sometimes it looks like it's a lot for them. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
That was my only concern for you.
It
Is
can
like
be,
they've
yeah.
had a couple. That Arizona game in particular was one where it's like how. I mean, I know they won by 10, and it's, still a solid win. But like, how do you only score 20? And
That's
like,
fair.
and then even when they're hitting this over, they're like barely like 24. I mean, another 24, 27. Like they're hitting it, but when they're hitting, it's not like they're crushing. Like I think they have 1, 2. Sorry, I'm doing all this math right now in my head, like trying to go through it. 1, 2. Yeah, they have 2 games this season where they've scored 30 or more points. Like this is not an offense that's like firing. Again, I know you only need 22, but like I said,
Yeah.
that 22 mark they've struggled to hit a little bit too. So again, to each their own. And I've been on Seattle all year, but I'm just saying, as someone who has bet on them all year, be careful.
It's fair. All right, so we can move into Fade Me now, and
We have one more round left, Ev.
Player prop, total.
No, I'm messing with you.
Oh.
I wanted to see if you were paying attention.
Wow, that was pretty good of me. That was pretty good.
I was impressed, honestly. I was expecting you to be like, all right, round 3, here we go. Because round 3 is usually
I'd be like round 4 of the wheel.
You lose it.
Yeah, true. I did lose
round
it, but
3 is usually where you kind of
picked it right out from me. But that is
I'm
crazy that you took that.
I'm proud of you. 11 weeks. It took you 11 weeks, but you got steady
Well,
feet under you.
I almost went first there. You took the Vikings, and
All right, fair. Yeah,
so
no.
I guess I did blow it. Yeah. Until next week, maybe I'll do it next week. But if you guys don't know what the fade me round is, essentially we're gonna spin the wheel just like we did to start the show. But this one's gonna land on either Tasos or myself, and whoever it lands on gets to make a pick. Doesn't matter what it is, what the side is, what type of bet it is, and the other person has to take the opposite play. Tasos, you better hope this doesn't land on me because I like a fade me spot here.
I
Again,
need this honestly because I don't like I said I like my totals, but like there was the one spot on the board this week where I said I wasn't the most confident.
yeah.
We haven't gotten any spreads, and I have like 7 spreads, which is just frustrating. So like if it can land on me, please, so I can use one of these picks. I have so many spreads that I like coming into this week, and I just haven't been able to unleash any of them.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I want this to land
on
me.
Player prop and 2 totals, which were the 2 areas where like I had like one or 2
tough.
picks.
Well, I took 2 team totals, so I wasn't out here slinging totals around. But all right, here we go. Let's spin it.
Been great.
Let's spin it. I want this because I got a nice little spot. I got to, sit down. Uh-oh.
Nope,
you got what you wanted. Oh, I had a plus money one to drop on your head.
All right. I got options.
So again, Tasos gets to make his pick here, and I have to take the opposite. It's the fade me round, the people's favorite.
Oh, except for that one guy that commented that it doesn't make sense, which I still
one dweeb was like, listen, the fade me round's stupid. And it's like, okay.
Listen, everyone has their own opinions, and you're entitled to your opinions. But like, I feel like we literally have gotten nothing but positive reviews on this segment, and like he was the one, just like this is stupid.
Everyone has opinions, and sometimes opinions are wrong, and that guy's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're gonna go with this one. We're gonna go with the LA Chargers -3 in Lambeau.
Ooh, look, again, you're making me root for the freaking Packers. You've done that already.
Yep. Oh. Now, to be fair, they are home, so I'm giving you a better spot because LA, warm weather team. Green Bay is getting cold now. We're now in middle of November. By the way, next week's our Thanksgiving edition, which I'm actually pretty excited for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is actually the riskiest of my spreads, to be fair. So I don't really know why I went with the riskiest one, but
okay.
I just my thing here is truthfully is like whether they're in Green Bay or it doesn't matter where they are. They could be on a high school football field. I don't trust Jordan Love. I really don't. Like I don't trust anything he's doing. Now this Chargers defense is horrible right now, which is crazy considering they have a defensive head coach. But their offense is starting to wake up. Like they dropped 38 on the Lions. Like they're starting to put it together on offense. I think Kellen Moore, I don't think he's done a great job. I think some people are overhyping him, but like, they had 27 on the Jets defense. They've scored 27 or more in each of their last 3 games. And defensively, like I said, they're not the best, but also the Packers offense is not the Lions offense. So I don't really see where Green Bay scores. I think the Packers defense is solid, but the problem is like how much can this defense back up Jordan Love? You know what I mean? Like they can only do so much for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Chargers win here. I think especially with the AFC playoff race the way it is, I think Green Bay, I don't want to say they're throwing in the towel. I think at this point it's like what are the Packers right now? They're 3-6. I mean, in the NFC, 3-6 doesn't make you dead, but it's like this team's dead. Let's be real. I mean, they're not.
I don't think that they have any promise for anything moving forward.
And I think at this point, and I know nobody intentionally loses games, but it's like, I think in their mind, it's got to be in somebody's minds in that ownership group. And I am, by the way, I own a share of the Packers, so I am part of that ownership group technically.
Are you legally allowed to bet against them?
So maybe a little insider trading. I don't know how that works. I have 1 share out of like 1 billion shares, but I think the Packers at this point, like there's a real legitimate argument to like if they keep losing right now, I think they have like the 5th overall pick or 6th overall. Like they keep losing, and now all of a sudden they can end up with one of these quarterbacks. You know what I mean? And like. So, I mean, if they're really off of Jordan Love, or even if they're still on him, like you could get the tackle from Notre Dame, you could maybe end up with Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, I think there's more value in them losing than them winning. And I know, like I said, I know maybe that's not the best argument for why I like this pick. I also just think, like I said, the Chargers offense right now, they're starting to click. And I think the Chargers, again, they need this win a little bit more because that AFC playoff field is ridiculous. I think it's like 13 or 14 out of the 16 teams in the AFC have 4 wins or more. Like, it's actually insane. I think it's like Tennessee's 3 wins and New England's 2. And I think the rest of the AFC is just loaded, like 4 wins or more. So, like, if the Chargers want to make the playoffs, and listen, Brandon Staley is coaching for his job, and a lot of guys on the Chargers are playing for their jobs, this is a must-win spot because their schedule doesn't get easier. So this is like the easiest game they could ask for. So I like the spot here, and I think if they're going to win, I think they'll cover the spread -3.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Similar to your 49ers spot last time. Not necessarily the teams, but that -3. Like I made a whole thing about like 2.5 would be so much better. Blah blah blah. It's like I think if the Chargers win this game, they end up just winning the game. Maybe by like a touchdown plus. Like it's not. I don't
Yeah,
think if this is a field goal-esque game, you're already in trouble type of thing. You know what I mean? Like that's not
exactly.
the side of it. Like,
If you're fighting for field goals and it's a low scoring affair, then you're already lost. But
exactly. So, but yeah, I don't. I like your spot. I don't like that I have to now back the Packers. What I will say is that this Chargers team hasn't, like, I know you hoot and hollered about some of the good stuff that they've put up. They haven't impressed me, which is the only thing that I can go in with.
Oh no, they're not a good team. They're not a good team. I'll be honest.
But the Packers stink.
But the
so
Packers
it's a good
stink,
spot.
and that's my thing. Is like the Chargers. The Chargers, honestly, like the fact that Staley's still employed is kind of crazy to me. I think they should fire him. I think I told you on this show, or maybe it was a different show. I don't know. I think Belichick coaches this team next year. To be fair, like I think he's going to be the head coach. I think he'll be in LA by next season.
Interesting.
But I think this is just heading for disaster. Like the Chargers, but the thing with the Chargers is this is what they do. They're going to win just enough games where it's like, can we fire Staley?
Yeah,
because
he's still kind of successful.
Yeah,
promise
like
for next year. Yeah.
Yeah, we won 8 or 9 games, and then when it comes to Staley, like it'll help his resume when he goes to want to get a new job. Like, oh well, I had a positive record during my time there. Just we had bad luck or whatever.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I think the Chargers are going to keep themselves in the race. They're going to win this because if they win this game now, they're 5-5, and all of a sudden, they're right in the thick of that AFC playoff race. And then, like I said, then they play Baltimore next week, and then they get New England and Denver. We'll see how that game goes. But the Raiders, Bills, they have some interesting games on the schedule. So, but this is, I think, their easiest. Besides New England, this is their easiest game left on the schedule. So,
yeah,
I like the spot here, truthfully.
Yeah, makes sense. I don't like last week you took the Steelers, not in the fade me, but then I'm kind of rooting for the Packers against your pick, and now I have to go again and root for the freaking Packers again. I think
that's also one of the benefits of this pick is that I have to keep making you watch Jordan Love play football, and not only watch but root. Yeah, which is I think all Packers fans can tell you it's a horrible experience having to watch him every week and root for him.
All Packers owners. Why don't you talk to some people? You got a majority, I would say.
Listen, I've made my request to the board. I want him gone, but I kind of want them to just trade for James. Actually, they should have traded for Jameis Winston for the rest of the season just to have some fun. At least with that guy, like it's just a roller coaster. Like it doesn't matter.
No dull moments.
No, never. But, like Jordan Love's not doing it. Jordan Love's just check down specialist, but with Jameis, he's rolling to his left and throwing cross body to the opposite side of the field, and it's either an interception or a touchdown every time. Yeah.
But all right, guys. Well, that is it. We have 4 picks on the board here. There's been a couple weeks where I'm like, oh, I love all of our spots and all this. There is some big old question marks on the board here, I think, on both of our ends. So interesting, and it will be interesting to see how this plays out. And again, on this show, my goal is to beat Tasos. His goal is to beat me. It's not to, you want to go 4-0, you want to hit more than not, but I'm almost like rooting against you more than I'm rooting for mine. It's a weird little toss up. It's about the record, not the overall record of our plays. But just a clarifying thought there, I guess. But yeah, Tasos, anything else for the people before we shut down here?
I don't want to say I'm never confident because I am confident in my picks, but I think the fact that I didn't use a double down tells it's a riskier week for me. Like I didn't love a lot of my picks like I loved last week's. Doesn't mean I don't think they're going to hit. Like I'm still confident in all my picks, but I will say like definitely a riskier week. Like I think the door is more open for you to win this week. Like last week I was pretty like when we finished recording, I'm like, yeah, no, I got that. Like there's not even
you're 4-0.
There's not a doubt in my mind like that I got that. I was like, all right, 3-1, I'll go. And then like when I went 4-0, I'm like, oh wow, I was really confident. But the door's open. Like this could be a really tight battle this week.
All right. Well, we shall see. That's all we have for you guys. Thanks for watching. If you made it to this point, appreciate you guys. The show, obviously, we're grinding and making adjustments and all that. And we love doing it because you guys are tuning in. So thank you guys very much. And
also, make sure, real quick, fade me. We got a bunch of new stuff coming out on the site. You're wearing the tie-dye shirts coming out.
Oh yeah.
We got the Christmas stuff. We've got the Miami Vice stuff. We got a lot of new merch coming out on the
And
Fade Me
tons
store.
coming too, which is great. Great Christmas gift as well. So get those ordered in fademe.store, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. All right.